Welcome back to the Unraveled Podcast. My name is Nina.
And my name's Alina.
And today we want to talk about mindset.
Okay.
Because you and I, we've talked a lot about it, personally in the past. And I think it's something that more people should talk about. But I personally think that it's really benefited my business and personal life. And so let's get into a little bit. When you think of the word mindset, what comes to mind? How has that affected your business, your personal life?
I would say for me, ambition, driven, lover of life. That's what I think of. That's how I see myself. I actually heard a statistic the other day that said 95% of people never live their life. They go to work, come home, see their family, end of day. Well, not even see their family if they even have a family, but 90% of people don't live their life. Yeah. Mostly it's just centered around like working and just going through the motions, going through the day. And then you have a lot of those 95% of people who hate their life or hate their job. For me, I am a true believer that you can be anything you want to be. You can do anything that you want to do. And you don't have to have the financial aspect of it to be able to do it. Yeah. You may have a different start than everybody else. You may have to work a little harder to get to where you want to be, but it's possible. You can do anything that you want to be. You can be anything that you want to be or do anything that you want to do. Yeah. But a lot of that goes back to mindset. If you may want to do these things, but are you willing to change your mindset to do it? Are you willing to put in the work to do it? But the first thing you have to do is change your mindset to be able to put in the work. Yeah. And if you're already telling yourself, oh, I can't do it, it's going to take me a year to do that, or it's going to take me 5 years to do that, you're already setting yourself up for failure because you're not giving yourself a chance by saying that. And I also heard another quote the other day that you could be one decision away. You could be one conversation away. You could be one job away from getting to where you want to be. Yeah. So why limit yourself to think that you're a year away or 5 years away from accomplishing a goal? So mindset has always been like a really important factor in my life because I do have goals. I do have certain things that I want to do. But if I'm limiting myself and I'm having these limited beliefs that I'm not able to do it, or it's going to take me 5 years to do, I'll never accomplish those things. And quite honestly, if it takes you a year, if it takes you 5 years, at least you're taking a step towards, what you feel your purpose is or whatever you want to do, versus letting that limit you and hindering you by saying that it's going to take too long when you've never even tried.
Yeah. And also, something that might take you a year or 5 years, a lot of people get scared and then they freeze and they don't do anything. But instead, you get that goal, let's say 5 years from now, and then you work backwards. What's it going to take for me to do that this year, this month, this week, this day, this small hour? And as you work back, it doesn't seem so daunting. But again, that's back to mindset. I was just talking with someone about this recently. They had asked me, how did you get into real estate? How did you become successful? All that kind of stuff. And really, truly, when I first started, I was in a very bad place. And the only way I was able to pull myself out of it was through mindset work. Literally every single day, I had to listen to something or read something or do something to try to switch my attitude. Because otherwise,
it can be exhausting. It could be, it could feel too much. It could be overbearing. Even just the thought of trying to accomplish something can be overbearing, which is why you have to change your mindset about it and say, hey, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do about it? And like you said, starting off small and figuring out, what can I do today? What can I do next week? What can I do this month to accomplish the goal that you're trying to achieve?
And I feel like if you do mindset work, it's going to benefit almost every aspect of your life. It's going to benefit your business. It's going to benefit your personal, your private life, all that stuff. So why not?
And your mental health.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. It's most times people will just focus on, the work, or they don't think that the solution is to actually work on yourself, to work on your mindset. I heard this quote where someone said, fear is like an inch deep, but miles wide. So if you don't actually step into something, you think, you don't know how deep the water is. You just see, oh my gosh, it's so far. But then when you actually put yourself in that situation, you realize, oh, it's a little puddle. I can walk through a puddle for a mile. That's no big deal. But then you only know that if you actually put yourself into that situation.
Agreed. I know even for myself, like there's other businesses that I want to have and I want to do. And I've been planning and kind of thinking about it for the last like couple years, but it's not like I know this is probably going to take me a couple years to grow, and but I'm willing to step into what that looks like and kind of figure it out. Rather that's meeting with other people who have the same business in other states or whatever. I'm going to try to do that first so I can see if this is something that I want to do. Yeah. But it all goes back to my mindset in general. I could have said, hey, this is going to take me too long, I don't want to do it. But also like I'm looking at the bigger picture, not just the now.
Yeah. And that's the key, I think. You have to have a bigger picture. You have to know where you're going, but then you can't be scared by it because it's far away. It seems like it's an unattainable goal. But if you actually strategically work backwards, it is achievable.
Correct.
The daily, hourly activities will lead to that success. But people often just think, oh, I'll never be able to do it. Or this person has advantages and that's why they're successful. How do you know? What if that person has worked through these things that you've not worked through yet? That's the big thing. My coach always tells me you got to disconnect from the outcome. You just have to do the work consistently, and then over time you'll reach your goals. But if you're so focused on, oh my God, how will I ever be able to do this?
Right. But also if you're so focused on the advantages that some other people may have that have nothing to do with you, it's going to be even harder for you to achieve because yes, this person may have other advantages that you don't have. So yes, you may have to work a little harder, but doesn't mean it's not obtainable.
No.
So if your judgment is so clouded by what advantages other people have, you'll never accomplish what you want to accomplish because your mindset isn't in the right place.
Yeah. And they always say what you focus on expands. I really think that is true because let's say you're focusing on another person who is where you want to be and you think, oh, they've had advantages, I'll never be able to make it. All your time and energy and resources are focused on that person. Instead, if you just focus on yourself and growing and building your business or, work on your personal life, your health, whatever it is, and just ignore everyone else, that's what you need to do. But then, comparison is natural. Everyone wants to compare themselves, but the more you focus on other people, the less time and energy you have to better yourself.
And there's nothing wrong with comparison if you use it in the right way.
But it's so close together. Like you have to really be strong mindset to use comparison to push yourself to grow and do better and do more. Very easily you can compare and then be depressed and freeze and not do anything and just kind of wallow in, oh, it's not fair. Life isn't fair. How come they got this? And of course they can do that because they have those connections, but you don't have to have all of those things to also be successful.
Correct.
But you do have to work hard. And it's funny, when I got into real estate, I thought it would mainly be real estate, but what I found is it's mainly mindset. It's about 80% mindset, 20% real estate.
I saw this, we reference quotes all the time, but I saw this other quote that was like, this girl wanted to, maybe it was a TikTok, I don't remember. This girl wanted to have her own like skincare makeup line, and she was like, but there's so much competition, there's so much, everybody's doing it. And she was like, didn't Rihanna create Fenty? Like there wasn't 15 other million skincare lines, and it became the number one makeup brand for that first year she had it out. So like, who cares what competition exists? At the end of the day, you've got to find your niche to set yourself apart from everything else. And Rihanna's Rihanna, Lady Gaga is Lady Gaga. I think she has a skincare line or makeup line as well.
Literally hundreds.
But there's two different aspects they're bringing to the industry so that may resonate with people a little differently. So just because it already exists doesn't mean that you're not able to do it as well.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to, again, confidence and mindset, because if you do that work, you know who you are. You will show yourself in your most authentic way, and your people will gravitate to you. Like, the people that buy Rihanna's skincare line or makeup may not be the same people that buy Revlon, right? So there's literally so many different companies and services that people choose and pay for
their own reasons.
And that's why you just have to love yourself, work on yourself, just know who you are, and then show up in that way and people will be drawn to work with you and be your friend and be a part of your life. But then if you're just trying to copy other people and you're comparing, and I mean, copying certain levels of success and tactics, that is a good thing, but you're a unique person, but
I agree.
I definitely wasn't thinking about this stuff, 5-10 years ago for sure. You just think you compare yourself to everyone and you don't realize the importance.
So I was talking to a friend the other day and he was complaining about, all of these things. And I was like, okay, you should probably do this to change it. And the next day, complaining about the same thing. I was like, did you do this? No. Then I said, I don't want to hear you complain about it then.
Yeah.
If I or whoever gave you a solution to your problem and you haven't even tried to change, you've made no effort to change it, then I don't want to hear you complain about it, because you're just complaining about it, but you're not doing anything to change it. It'd be one thing if you were complaining and you were trying to make an effort to change the problem that you had, but you're not even trying.
Yeah.
So I think that also goes back to mindset. Like, you can say you hate your job all day, but you're not doing anything to change it. You could still be in that same job and hate it, but you're still learning from that job, taking away certain things from that job, or changing your mindset about that job to make it benefit you in a different way so that you don't hate it or that you find value in it in another way.
Definitely. That is like a pet peeve of mine, because I will have agents come up to me or people come up to me and, what's your secrets? How do you this? Blah, blah, blah. And honestly, it's not secret. You literally just have to work on yourself and then show up. Just keep showing up, keep getting better, keep learning, keep growing. But the majority of the time, they don't want to put in the work that it takes in order to get the results, because it's hard work, whether you're doing real estate or any other career to where you are successful. It has taken a lot of time and a lot of work, and they don't want to hear it. I'll just, 5 weeks later, oh, how's it going? Oh, no, same problems. Oh, this, that.
But you didn't do anything to change the problems you were having.
How did it go with what I told you to try? Oh, I haven't done that yet. Oh.
Then I don't want to hear about it.
And eventually I do have to tell people, like, listen, I appreciate, these conversations, but I can't help you if you're not even willing to try these things consistently, or, they'll do something one time and think it's going to change their whole, no. You have to do things over and over again. It's like going to the gym one time and thinking you're going to have like rock solid abs.
Right.
That is not going to work.
That is such a good example. Like, I believe you cannot effectively complain about something if you're not willing to do anything to change it. Like, I do not want to listen to somebody complain about something if you're not willing to change it.
Because, it's not that hard to change it. It just
it requires you to put in the work.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to put in the work, then I don't want to hear you complain about it.
No. But that is something that people have to come to terms on their own, because a lot of times they want the easy fix. They want the hack. They want, the secret. Usually there's not a lot of hacks or secrets. It's usually just
putting in the same work everybody else is.
The person you're seeing now, who you admire, maybe you think is successful, it's because they've been through years of work and heartache and heartbreak and mindset work. And to this day, if I don't keep my mindset on track, everything else falls apart.
Right.
And I cannot emphasize it enough to people. I talked to an agent a week and a half ago, and she was asking me about, do you have any recommendations for coaches or, and I told her honestly, and I sent her some stuff. The majority of my coaches are mindset coaches, and then a small percentage is real estate related, because that's what I need. And so more people should focus on mindset, and then everything would be better.
I feel like that's where everything starts, and then everything else just kind of falls into place.
Because, if you think about all the things you should do or need to do, it's very overwhelming. But then if you can just focus on one thing, like, I am going to work on myself. What are your goals? I'm going to make myself better. I'm going to make my mindset better, my health better. Everything else will follow, because then you start to have those habits and behaviors and friendships and everything that kind of will lead you to where you want to be.
I remember back in maybe 2022, I went through this phase for like 6 months where my mind just wasn't in it. And I was tired all the time. Tired probably because I was just like, my my
Burnt
mind
out.
just wasn't, I was burned out. But also like mentally, I was just exhausted. I didn't want to do anything, and I paid it. I paid the consequences for it. My pockets paid the consequences for it. I couldn't go do anything. Really, my pockets paid the most consequences for it because I didn't have any income in, because I was just like, my mind just was not in it. But I had to put myself back out there, and it took a while to get back in the right mindset, but I had to do it, or else I was going to be in the same place I was, a year and a half ago when I was then.
Yeah. And, I know in previous podcasts we had talked about friendships and things like that. And there are going to be some people that their mindset is just in the gutter. You could give them all the tools that you have, all the recommendations you have, but no matter what you do, their mindset sucks. It just does. And limiting contact with those people is beneficial, because you become like the people you hang out with or you spend time with. And so if you can really tell that someone's mindset is not where it needs to be, I have kind of just separated myself a bit, because I've worked too hard to get to the mindset place where I am today. I don't want to go back. I don't want to undo the work, So.
But also, like, being around people who are just so negative will tear you down.
Yeah.
It will weigh you down, versus being around people who are just high energy and vibrant. It's just different.
They're problem solvers. They're solution oriented. They're coming from a place of contribution. It's like a totally different vibe, and it's not a natural state to be in. Like, some people's personalities are like,
natural.
They have a pep in their step, but most people don't have that. And the way they got there was through experiences and work and all that kind of stuff. And at least within real estate, half of the people are negative, depressed. Woe is me, the world's falling apart, the market's going to crash, we're losing our jobs. And then to me, I'm like, no, it's a great time.
It's just a normal day for me.
Yeah, there's
the rest of the world could be falling apart, and I'm still going to be proceeding as normal.
And that's the thing. It's like, one person will say the world's falling apart, and then I'm going to say there's opportunity everywhere you look. You just have to find it.
This is
so
true.
It all goes back again to mindset.
Very true.
Do you have any kind of like habits or things that you put into your week that kind of promote good mindset or, good energy for you personally?
So when I was kind of going through that phase where I just wasn't in the right mindset and I just wasn't doing anything, one of the things I helped myself do is kind of get back to the basics and like hanging around with, and trying to put myself back out there again and hanging out with friends, going out more, but also finding pleasure in the simple things. Like taking a bath or, going on a walk or spending time with my dog, like just finding those little things that I enjoy doing, which again are so small, but just kind of helping me put me back in the right headspace versus just laying in bed all day watching movies and, doing whatever. I don't know. Sometimes it's just the simple things.
Yeah. And that's kind of like having some go-to things that will kind of, if you feel yourself slipping, that's what I like to do. If I feel like my mindset, is going down, I've had a tough week or, crazy stuff, I'm going to put these things in place, different things to listen to, watch, do, work out, to kind of just like
But
reset.
Also the music too that you listen to.
Definitely.
And also the sceneries. Like, one of the things that I really liked doing then when I was in that phase was I loved just sitting out on my back patio and just watching the world, looking what everyone else was doing and having my little candle burning. Like, it's the simple things.
Yeah. Yeah. And intentional choices, to be very intentional. It seems like, oh, no big deal. But actually, those little things make a huge difference. So I would always, I encourage everyone to like think about what can you implement in your life that is intentionally helping your mindset. Again, it could be going for a drive, getting a massage, reading a book, like whatever it is. There's a variety of things, because it makes a big difference. It's very helpful.
Yeah. And your career and your family and your life in general. I think it's very important to find something that puts you in the right headspace to help you accomplish whatever you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. And what's your anchor? Like, if everything's going crazy, what can center you again? That's a big thing. And it's hard to find, but you can eventually find where it's like, the whole world could be falling apart. Everything could be going crazy, but you'll be okay, and why. So anyway, I think that's it for today. Thank you again for joining us. We release a new episode every Wednesday, and you can find it on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, and we're also on social media. Thank you for watching.